So there is 8 games this week. There's going to be 1 tomorrow. There's going to be 5 on Saturday, and there's going to be 2 on Sunday, and there's also going to be 1 more next week in the midweek game. I think that's a NYCFC game against another opponent. I got to double check who exactly it is, but I'll do that on Sunday. And in terms, of course, the game, I know this one starts at 4:30 tomorrow, so I might be able to watch half of it because I have to go to the Giants game, and that's actually a big if because tomorrow there is about 100% chance of rain. So that game might get rained out, and if that game does get rained out before I go to the ballpark, then I can, of course, watch the whole game, and then, I potentially can watch the morning game. I have to go somewhere in the evening to do that Sports Hop series, and hopefully I can do a live match reaction with this game. If you guys have not watched my match preview between the Quakes and the Union, I talked about how I might do a live match reaction. And also, if you haven't watched that, make sure you go check that out. That's already uploaded onto this channel. But yeah, without further ado, let's get to today's, or not today, but this week's game, or this weekend's game to specifically say. And we start off with this one. We start off with tomorrow's game. The Revs against Montreal. Who would have thought that a couple of weeks ago that this game would be between two teams that is currently in the playoffs right now? I mean, it's just incredible how both of these teams has been throughout this early of the season. New England obviously pulled out a shocking win against Houston last week, and then Montreal with a win against Seattle on the road, and Montreal has now beaten both of the Cup finalists last year. They beaten Toronto at home, and now last week they beaten Seattle. I mean, that is just quite incredible. That is. Although, to be fair, Montreal kind of got help from Seattle, the fact that they couldn't finish in that game, and also the fact that the Sounders decided for the 3rd week in a row have a man send-off in that game. But it was still a very impressive victory for Montreal. But in terms of this game, it's very hard to call because, for the Revs so far, this has been a very good start for them. Definitely, this is not what I expected from them in terms of them getting a good start. And in the last game, the guy that was the reason why the Revs won was Pena, who actually got the Player of the Week last week. I mean, I heard that the Revs fan would talk about how he was so influential in that game between the Revs and the Dynamos, and yeah, no shit, he was very influential. He just got the Player of the Week, and if Pena can continue to play like that for the Revs, then maybe the Revs might not be as bad as they might think they are. Certainly, I didn't think that they were going to be that good. And for Montreal, last game, like I said, they won 1-0, and they kind of got help with the sending off, but that was probably the worst performance for Montreal in the last game, and they still got a win. So, yes, Montreal have been relying on luck, and also the fact that their manager Remy Gard has started to figure out MLS a little bit, started to do some good tactics to out-tactics the other manager. But like I said, this one it's a very tough one to call, and I won't be surprised if this one ends in a draw. But I will say this, the Revs have not lost at home in a very long time, and I won't be surprised if they win again because that they have a very good home record. I think that is now 9 games without a loss for them coming into this one, or 8, I think. I don't know, but something around that. They haven't lost in a long time at home. Anyway, moving on to the next game, the Saturday game. This is a early kickoff one, well, for my time, but not for the time in the East Coast. Well, actually, no, it's not an early kickoff. It's actually a 2 o'clock kickoff time. Atlanta versus LAFC. Atlanta 3-0-1. LAFC 2 0-1. Atlanta have now won 3 straight ever since they got absolutely embarrassed on opening week against Houston. Well, LAFC, we all know what happened to them. They got absolutely steamrolled in that second half period right after the hour mark, and just completely blew a 3-0 lead against their bitter rival, the Galaxy. And it's going to be very interesting to see how they respond to that. I think this is probably their first big adversity that LAFC will have to face. This is the first hurdle that, Bob Bradley has to figure out with this team. I know the team's probably going to be very down coming into this game after they just completely blew it. They should have easily got that win against the Galaxy if they just decided to play the whole 90 minutes instead of just completely decide to switch off in the last 30 minutes and hope that by parking the bus against the Galaxy and also Zlatan is a good way to do it. Unfortunately, that we all know that of course didn't quite work out. And but it's a very tough challenge to face against Atlanta, because Atlanta right now just look like the Atlanta of last season. And in the last game, Atlanta actually did something that you usually don't see them do a lot last year, which is grinding out a 1-0 win against Minnesota. And we always knew that Atlanta is a team that is known for their high scoring, kind of high octane kind of attacking force that they have. But in the last game they were kind of limited by that, and somehow in some way they've grinded out. They also got a man send off in the last game. So yeah, this is going to be a very good one. I think this can potentially have a lot of offense, because both of these attack are very, very good. And if there is a match out of all of these, well, I think a close second would be, this one would be also very interesting, but a close second in terms of the match that I definitely would recommend you to watch is definitely this one, because there's going to be a lot of offense going on in this game. Anyway, moving on, this game, I already talked about this one in my match preview, so as usual, I'm not going to talk a lot about it, but Philly, of course, lost 3-0 to the Rapids. They basically gave up a hat trick to a Colorado team that has not scored a hat trick in like 8 years. And the Quakes just come off with a very frustrating 2-1 loss against NYCFC. And, this is a big game for the Quakes because, like I said in my match preview that I did earlier today, this is one of the easiest games on the road we have. But yet, for some reason, Philadelphia has San Jose's number. I mean, they have not lost to them since 2012. They have got 2 wins and 2 draw, and probably they should get 3 wins and 1 draw, because the last time they met, if it wasn't for Wando getting that penalty kick in the 93rd minute, Philly would have won that one on the road. So yeah, this is going to be interesting. I'm really hoping that the Quakes can kind of snap out of this hoodoo that they have with Philly, and we'll see if they can do that. Either way, next up, Dallas versus Colorado. Dallas 1-2-0. They are one of the 2 teams that is currently still undefeated. The other is NYCFC. And Colorado is all even at 1. They did get a win last week, as I said before, with them winning 3-0 against Philly, with Don Bacci getting the hat trick, which is the first one for Colorado in 8 years. And Dallas was also the only team last week that did not play a single game at all. And I know there are some people that have they're kind of not happy with the fact that I'm kind of slacking off Dallas a little bit. The fact that I keep saying that, Dallas is not doing very well at all. And why would you say that? Because they are undefeated right now, and they currently are in the playoffs right now as at this moment. So why are you putting them so low in the power rankings and always talk about slack about them? Yeah, I understand that they are undefeated, and they are one of the 2 teams that is still undefeated in this league. The problem is that they're also the only team that have not played a road game at all this season. They start out the season 4 home games in a row, whose idea was that to start their home kind of stand in literally the first 4 games of the season. Well, I guess maybe it's because Dallas does get hot in the summer and they want to try to play as much home games early on so they don't have to worry about like the heated kind of summer or something like that. But yeah, they have started they haven't even gone on the road and experienced that toughness that is in a road trip in the MLS. And during their home stretch, they're playing a lot of weak teams. Against RSL, the first game of the season, they almost lost that one if it wasn't for an own goal. And then against Seattle, it was a injury-riddled Sounders team, and also the fact that they kind of got gifted with the Sounders getting sent off in that game. Their main striker Dempsey got sent off, so that was a gift for them. And then against Portland, they also had another gift with a sending off, and they couldn't take advantage of that. So that is why I'm saying that Dallas, I really felt like in these first 3 games, they could have easily got all 9 points in this, and that I feel like Dallas could have been in a better position, because once they hit on the road, and if they struggle on the road, then I'll tell you what, this is what I meant about how they could potentially be in a bad position, and that I'm not impressed with what Dallas is right now. So that is pretty much my reason of why I keep kind of slacking on Dallas and not really put them very high on the power rankings, despite the fact that they have 5 points this season and that they are one of the 2 only undefeated team this season. As for Colorado, obviously the question is, can they of course carry that momentum from that home win against Philly into this one against Dallas? And Colorado hasn't been playing that badly lately. I mean, they were unlucky to not get all 3 points against Sporting KC, and then in the last game they did very well in the second half to win 3-0. So yeah, Colorado is not really a team that many people would think that right now they're just a pushover. So this should be a very interesting game, and I think if I have to say that who needs to win this more, it has to be Dallas. They have to win this one. If they don't win this one, then this is a real big issue for Dallas. And Dallas does have issue right now with their team. But yeah, speaking of issue, another team that is also having some issue, Chicago. Now, they did get their first point of 2018 by drawing the Timbers 2-2. And the fact that right now they are literally once again being carried by Nikolic and who was the other guy that score? Oh, I've kind of forgot about it. But yeah, for Chicago, they are sort of off to a slow start, and it doesn't help the fact that they have to play against one of the best team in the Eastern Conference, and that is the Columbus Crew. And although the Crew did lose to Vancouver in the last game, I still think that this is a Crew team that, this should be one that I think they can potentially win against the Fire. The Fire, not only the fact that they're dealing with numerous injury right now, but there is just a lot of other problem with this team. I mean, the defense is not that good. Their attack is sort of good at time and sort of not. But yeah, for Chicago, it's been sort of a rough start so far, and it's kind of expected when you consider the fact that when the Fire sold David Accam, that was going to be a big miss, and I thought that would be a key piece to potentially kind of knock Chicago a little bit down in terms of the standings. And not surprisingly, they're off to a slow start. So I think the Crew could potentially get a bounce back win. And I'll tell you what, if Jerzy Zardes scored again in this game, then I might have some regrets by saying that he was going to be completely useless. The fact that he moves to Columbus and that he's going to be looking like the same, because yeah, he is absolutely lighting it up with Columbus right now. But yeah, either way, next one is RSL versus Vancouver. RSL 1-1-2, Vancouver 3-1-1. And I'll tell you what, I didn't think that Vancouver was like 3-1-1. I mean, that's kind of what many people always kind of expect about the Whitecaps. Like, they always think that how in the world are they getting such a good record like this, considering the fact that they don't look that impressive at times. And I think it's maybe because of the counter-attacking style that Carl Robinson and his team uses. And I think that is the reason why they always tends to win on the road. They are currently tied in the league with 2 road wins. The only other team that have won 2 road games is NYCFC. And yeah, they have another chance on the road against a RSL team that just lost 3-1 to Toronto, and certainly an RSL team that is really struggling so far in this early part of the season to get another point. And for RSL, I think this is also a big match for them because the last one they lost 3-1 to TFC, which I wouldn't say that was a bad loss because they were playing against TFC away, and it was always going to look like they were going to lose that one. But now the question is, can they bounce back in this game? And it's kind of disappointing that they have to play against the best the best road team right now in MLS to follow that TFC game. But for Mike Pecky, he definitely needs to try to figure out this little slow start that RSL is going right now. RSL, I think so far, the problem for RSL right now is that they are not scoring a lot of goals right now. And yeah, I mean, they need to somehow find a way to score those goals. And right now, I think the only guy that is really scoring for RSL is Shaw Plata, and that's pretty much it for them. So they need to get their young kind of midfield kind of trio that they had with Rusnak, Plata. Well, actually not Plata, but their other 2 dynamic midfield duo, that is Rusnak and also Severino, that they need to get going. And yeah, for RSL, this is gonna be a very interesting game, and certainly a game that they really need a win in this one. But yeah, moving on to the next one, Orlando versus Portland. This is where we get to the Sunday game. Both of these games are Sunday game. So Orlando play against Portland. Orlando finally got their first win this season, and they did it in a very kind of crazy way by winning 4-3 at home against the Red Bulls in probably one of the most entertaining games of the season. And have it not been for El Tráfico that also end up by the same score, this game would have been probably the game of the week from last week. But yeah, Orlando finally got a win, and they're going to be playing against a Timber side that is going to be one of the 4 teams that still have not got a win this season. But the good news for the Timber is that this is it. This is the last game of their just grueling road trip that they have to go on because of that expansion thing that they're doing with Providence Park. And this is the light at the end of the tunnel for the Timbers. After this game, they can return back to Providence Park to play their home opener, and they certainly have an opportunity to maybe end this really gruesome road trip on a high and get a win. Although it is definitely going to be very tough because there is another team that is really kind of desperate to get some win and trying to get back on track, and that of course is Orlando City. And for Orlando City, pretty much they have everybody back healthy right now, maybe besides Russell, that is the only guy that is still injured for them, but they basically got everybody back. They got Sasha Kleshton back to full health. They got Dom Dwyer back from full health. They also got their backup striker Pino back in this game. They also got Justin Merrim. Well, Justin Merrim was never injured in when he was with when he was with Orlando City. So yeah, there's just absolutely no excuse anymore for Jason Christ to say that if Orlando City lose, it's because of injury. Well, there is no more injury, so this is another game that Jason Kreis have to win, and if he does not win, then that he's gonna get inch closer to that hot seat, and well, not just a hot seat, but the chopping block, pretty much. So yeah, this is a game that Orlando City really needs to win, but so is Portland too. They want to end this road trip on a high. So yeah, it's gonna be a very fun game to watch, and hopefully, in this game, if this game does end in a draw, it doesn't really kind of help either team, because both teams share the point for each other, and yeah, both of them are desperate for a win. But yeah, now on to the last game, and probably the game that I'll definitely be looking forward to is this one, the Galaxy against Sporting KC. And the reason why I say I'm looking forward to this game is how will Zlatan perform in his second game. Now, I don't know if Zlatan is going to be starting in this game, or is he going to just come off the bench again. He came off the bench against LAFC, and we know what happened next. The rest is pretty much history. And whether or not if he's going to start in this game or be a super sub again like the last game, we of course will find out. And they're playing against Sporting KC, a team that is currently top in the Western Conference, and probably one of the best kind of team in the Western Conference right now, and a team that doesn't really have a lot of issue with their team. I know earlier in the season, Sporting KC had a lot of problem with the defense, just giving up so many goals. But in the last game, it feels like they sort of figured that out, and they finally got a clean sheet in the last game. And although they got a 1-0 win in the last game against DC United, they could have easily got more. I mean, there was so many chances for them. And the only goal came from Felipe Gutierrez, which, from me, when I look at that replay once again, it was a own goal. Felipe Gutierrez didn't really intend to shoot that. He was trying to cross that one, and it basically hits one of the defenders' leg and basically into the back of the net. I mean, we've seen a couple of that incident that is given an own goals, and I don't know why they say that Gutierrez got the goal, but I'm pretty sure he doesn't care, because now he is on top of the Golden Boot with 5 goals. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if he can score another one against a Galaxy team that is still a little bit banged up coming into this game. Guys like Alessandrini, the Dos Santos brother, could potentially not play in this game once again. And also the defense, was a bit of an issue in the last game. The fact that they just completely got ripped open by LAFC in the first half like that. Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see how are they going to deal with Felipe Gutierrez running straight down their throat, and also deal with Johnny Russell in the midfield area. So yeah, this is going to be a very interesting game to see. Certainly, this is probably the game of the week, considering the fact that, what will Zlatan do in his second appearance? Is he going to make more history in his second appearance like he did in his first? But we shall see how that's going to go. Also, this game is going to be a 6 o'clock kickoff, so it's a little bit of a late start in the East Coast. It's a 9 o'clock. Certainly, if you can stay up on a Sunday night, then I recommend you watch this game. And yeah, that is pretty much it for this week's match preview. I'll be doing the review on Sunday, and hopefully doing the preview for that midweek game between NYCFC and RSL. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash that subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys on Sunday for the match review.